So yeah, I feel maybe so far so good, just a bit. So this is, I'm going to mix some yellow and white. Just moving on from that initial one. This is quite light, but I just felt that this area is quite cool actually. Just not mixing enough, so a bit of medium. Not mixing enough paint. I want to make sure that if I can, that the underpainting shows through, which you can see in the original. Now that's sort of too liquid. It's got like a little bit too much medium possibly. I don't know if it's too light. I've got to be very careful because it does look chalky, you know, just at this stage if you don't put enough colour in. Yeah, that's not right. So red, yellow ochre. Some of that, more of that cadmium yellow, and I'll put a bit more, I'll leave that white there. It's pretty close to the one I mixed. So I've still got a bit of medium. I think it just gets quite thin here. So I'm just gently brushing on so you can see the glaze beneath, but I'll probably have to just add a shadow here. It wasn't dark enough. It wasn't dark enough when I did it originally. Right, so I've got that one. I think some of these ones would be, oh yeah, well, wasted the brush a bit. I'll have to get another brush for the lights. So I've just mixed in, you know, you can see the earlier colour, there's a bit of yellow ochre and all sorts of things was in that. So I'm just going to see about, there's this sort of shadow. And here. I mean, I can, obviously on the same brush, sometimes I find, you know, I've got the dark on one side and then I can just, well, that didn't work. You know, just pick out, it's still got light paint on it. Now it's sort of halfway between the two. Because it's not that dark. But I'll work into it with the highlights. I think at this stage it's just obviously very carefully, but you know, we're just getting paint, we're just having a look, feeling around, getting some paint on. That's a really interesting thing about painting, though, because everyone does have their own sensibility, and so therefore it is so difficult and nigh on impossible to copy it exactly, because just it's always going to look like a painting I would paint, and Titian's is always going to look like a painting he would paint. It doesn't matter how close you get sort of to it technically, there's still just going to be something. That's, I suppose, why very good forgers are so rare. Because it's so difficult, you're just looking at the little twitches, in some, just in his wrist, just in the movement, the way he's holding the brush, the pressure, all of these things are just so subtle. It's got more red in some areas, so maybe this could be the reddy bit. And this is just a sort of, just around here, there's definitely a bit more red, but that's sort of come further on. It's like another glaze on top of, I think, the way it looks. And around here it's definitely got a bit more red in the paint. So just for the line of the eyebrow, I'm just going to leave the underpainting, but I think Titian definitely painted something. Yeah, I think because I'm painting on board, that makes a difference as well. It's got a smoother finish. So I always do this, but possibly because I'm just sort of tentatively trying to find the right colours, it's just always too light. Not always, but quite often, more often than not. But it still gives, I've got an opportunity then to go into work into it in the second one, and in a way it's much easier to work from light to dark than the other way, which I've definitely learned from bitter experience. So I don't want him to look older than he is. As I said, it's just the first glaze. That is definitely just this bit is not as low. That's aging him a bit. I know this is a bit much as well. Okay, so I've got some of these brushes have got quite dark shadows on, so definitely around the eye there's a lot of sort of warmer shadows but with white, so I'm just going to mix into this. It's got a bit of Alizarin Crimson in already, so they're quite pink, but it's obviously way too much. I'm just going to start putting a bit of yellow ochre in. So I don't know what that is, but it's sort of very deep, warm pink. And we'll know when we've done it. That will also apply to this area of the lower lip. And I thought when I first mixed it, it's that kind of area, isn't it? Maybe it just needs some raw umber or something just to do something to it. I don't know what it'll do. So again, this is very, very sort of detailed area that I'm going in with a bit of a sledgehammer. But it should just give you an idea. See how much lighter that is. So I've worked into the wet glaze, the dark shadows. I think possibly warmer in the original. So a bit more red. What will make a difference is, when this is dry, I can go over through the eyelash, and I'll work into the details around the eye. Yeah, that's just not great. It's just too pink. So I'm just going to veer off. It's just got yellow ochre in, and I think that it's quite light. I'm just going to, again, it's just a thin glaze. It's something like it. Possibly, yeah, if I just add some warmth here, I can just go over that later. There, you can see how I can I just changed the drawing on the eyebrow there. Just working from the underside, and it's just a tiny bit of this colour, but that's what it can do with the drawing. Don't want to overdo it. This nostril is pretty intense. Okay, and then it's lighter. But somehow, so I'm just putting a tiny bit of the highlight on the brush. Oh, that's okay. Just got to grab my reading glasses. It doesn't look right. I was quite careful with the underdrawing, the underpainting. You know, I think it just needs, yeah, some slightly smaller brushes. I think we're okay. One thing I just wanted to mention, there was another video and I just thought I'd probably said the wrong thing, or I was doing it wrong. So when you're adding it's like it's a relative highlight. This is a highlight, so just behind the nose it's lighter, but look, this is a very dark colour, so I'm not going to just wade in with these other highlights. You know, this highlight will just, the moment you do that, it's just going to look completely chalky and totally wrong. Just the nose, I don't know what it is. It's one of those things, we'll get there. I think it's just got to be a bit shallower. And yeah, the other thing is that it's one of the great noses of art history, actually. Feels like a real privilege to be painting it, to be picking it here. See, that's what I've done, I've just made it. I've just got a little brush here. Just covered in dust, actually. I forgot to wash it up the other day. This is kind of just doing what I said you shouldn't do, which is using too light a highlight. But okay, so it's this. Running out brushes slightly today. Again, just really beautifully observed by Titian up here. Just wow, that's really good. You can just see, you know, he's just got the very slightest of kinks in the end of his nose, so the shadow is just darker around it. I think I'll do that probably with the next glaze. I don't want to get bogged down and just show you a video of painting a nose. just need a bit more of this. So white, red,